Okay, everyone. My name is Patrick Russell. I am the Director of Technology and Integrations at Oaktree Funding. Today, I'm going to show you how to submit a loan to our Easy Submit portal, our TPO Broker Portal. Just a quick highlight of what we're going to be covering today. We will be going over, first of all, you got to be approved with Oaktree in order to get credentials and use the system. We're going to go over validating a 1003 and making sure your 3-4 file has got good data. We're going to go over credit. We're going to go over pricing. We're going to go over fees and disclosures. And then once we submit more post-submission, we're going to be talking about the underwriting package. We're going to be talking about the appraisal ordering, loan condition management, the broker's document library, and then how to request a change of circumstance, a lock extension, or a CD request. So with that, let's get started. Okay. Bear with me while I get these things out of my way. Okay, so this is our portal, easy-submit.com. You can access Easy Submit by going directly to this URL here. You can also access it from our Oaktree website under nonqmexpert.com. You can go to client login or anywhere you see the point click submit. You can click on this and they'll take you directly to your login. Once you're logged in, you will see your pipeline view. In your pipeline, you're going to have options to filter by your different loan statuses, the different stages that you're in. If you want to look there, you can search by a loan number or a name, a borrower name. We have under my account, you can store things like your credit credentials, and it has your personal information under here. User guides will take you to a link on our website that give you access to different steps and kind of an overall view of kind of what we're covering today. Rate sheets, this will give you a link to our direct site where we host all of our rate sheets. So anytime you need access to rate sheets, you don't have to check through your emails. If you're in the portal, you just click here, it'll take you right to them. Then we have our quick pricer. The quick pricer allows you to price out a scenario. And then the benefit of that is if you're not ready to move forward with something and you're kind of just shopping with a borrower, you can go in here and save the scenario, give it a name, and then it'll be there for you later so that you can access that scenario. You can move forward with it, and then it'll allow you to continue to a submission and upload a 3-4 file. So that's always a good option if you want to have some quick pricing set up for you in advance when you're working with your borrower. Today, I'm going to function like a broker running through here under my test account. We will get to the income desk icon here shortly. But for now, let me just get started and show you how easy it is to walk through this process. So first thing you want to do when you're going to submit a loan, you have your 3-4 file ready. You're going to go ahead and click Start a Loan, and you're going to go ahead and upload your 3-4. There is an option. I don't recommend using this type of option because you're going to have to manually recreate everything in here like you did in your LOS. Broker side LOS. So I would suggest using a 3-4 file, and we're going to go ahead and just upload. I'm going to go ahead and pick one of my Fannie Mae test cases that I have already set up here. And then what it's going to do here is it's going to look at all the data that's in your 3-4 file and just quickly show you what errors and issues that you might have in your data so that we make sure we get a solid file into our LOS throughout this process. So this first one is just really telling you, asking you rather, if you had additional applications in here and they weren't organized properly when you look at this. I mean, you could always go back to your LOS, or within the portal, you can actually drag and drop these different borrowers across the different applications, the primary and the additional. But in this case, everything's set up here. So I'm just going to click Confirm Borrower Pairs and then hit Save. The next item it's telling me I have an issue with is my estimated closing date has to be in the future. So what's convenient about this is you just click on the button and it takes you to where you need to update the data point inside the 1003. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw a estimated closing date in here real quick. And you can see that this IRLA actually is set up just like the standard IRLA with the different categories that are there. So it should be very familiar and easy for folks to use. You can see here that I've cleared all my borrower validations, and at that point, it's allowing me to move forward to the next step in the workflow. Here, if you're having issues at this point and you have all green lights here and it won't let you move forward to here, the chances are what you have is a second borrower that you need to filter down to and make sure there's no additional edits and adjustments that need to be made to that particular part of the application. In this case, I don't have that problem, but I just wanted to call that out. I'm going to go ahead and move forward to this screen. Now, this screen is temporary for us. In the next week or so, we will be working on or deploying a new integration that's direct with the LOS that we use. We had sunset an existing integration, so this is a temporary page where if you have an AUS that you've ran, DU, DO, etc., LPA, then you can add that information in here manually and just put your info here. It's not required if you're doing a non-QM loan, which the majority of folks will be doing with us. You want to go ahead and put in your credit credentials information here as well. That way your credit can be reissued on the back end. And then you just kind of manually plug in your information here, your credit report ID, and then the date it was issued. And this will help the operations team on the back end when they are working on inputting your credit report later in the process. You'll see there's an upload section for that. So I'm just going to plug in some data here real quick. And then that's it. That's all you got to do for this step. And then you hit save and continue. Now, at this point, you're going to, creating the loan is essentially generating a loan number in our system. That's really important if you're working on a pre-qualification. So if you're doing like an income desk submission and you don't necessarily need to take this thing all the way to disclosures or even do pricing until you know you have a deal with income, then this is the spot where after you click this create loan, you're going to want to stop here and on the next screen, and I'll show you where you grab your loan number and then show you how you would start your income desk submission. You can also, in this screen, you can see that if I'm a processor submitting on behalf of an LO, I can come in here and pick one of my processors and my test account here. And likewise, if I'm an LO submitting, I can assign whichever processor and a second processor if I have a team that I'm working with, if I want them both assigned to the loan. That way they get notifications as well. And they have access to the loan inside their pipeline. Excuse me. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and create the loan. All right. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and cover the income desk step real quick. So if that's what you're doing a pre-qualification, then go ahead and just click on the loan summary. You have your quick little summary of information here. You're going to want to grab that loan number. And then if you're doing your income desk submission, you just click on this icon. You can actually access this on our directly on our website, but this is just a quick link for you to make it available. So you essentially drop the loan number in here, and then you fill out some basic information and do like a mini business narrative. And then at that point, you will upload your bank statements, hit submit, and that will go to our income desk team. And then they will reach back out to you and let you know the status of that and calculate your income for you. Okay, so if you're not doing an income desk submission, the next step would be pricing. So I'm going to just go in here and enter in a basic scenario, get some pricing, and move us forward so I can show you the next steps. So I'm going to go ahead and do a DSCR loan. That looks good. And then I'd say one of the most important things for the broker community is going to be your comp here. You can flip it over to borrower paid if you like. You can actually click on this little lock right here and it'll allow you to edit the borrower paid comp if you want to make an adjustment there. Or you can keep it as lender paid and have your comp plan the way it's been approved through Oaktree. You can do a lender fee buyout. If you buy it out, obviously there'll be an LLPA pricing adjustment later on. We're just going to leave that as is. So I'm just going to go ahead and run a scenario real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and put this to investment. And then lock term, you can obviously pick your lock terms. And then I'm going to go ahead and get pricing. While that runs, the sub-financing, that's not really something you generally need to worry about. It's generally for if you're going to be doing a piggyback loan. If that's what, we're not going to cover that in today's webinar, but if that's something that you're interested in learning about and you have something, that situation, call, speak with your AE, make sure that those are still available, and then we'll step you through the process at that point. Your pricing will return. It'll show you everything that you're eligible for. It'll show you your pricing, your rates, all the different products or the different flavors of the product that you that are eligible for you. In this case, all the different investor advantages come back. But let's say I was trying to get an expanded jumbo for some reason. The easiest way to find out why that didn't show up as eligible would be that you didn't have, it wasn't owner occupied and full docs required. So if you just hover over the little I, it will pop up the different ineligible reasons for that particular product, and then you can go make adjustments in your scenario. But in this case, we're just going to go ahead and pick a product, and then you'll see in the pricing snapshot, it shows you your rate, your LLPAs, your final rate and price, and you have an option. If you want to request float at this point, you can just float the loan and register it, or you can register and actually auto lock at this point as well. So for my scenario, I'm going to go ahead and just request float. And what's great about this is as you're moving through this process, this pricing, everything you just changed in here, you saw initially I had like 349,000. As you go through the process, it's live. It's a live 3.4. So if you make adjustments in your pricing scenario, it is constantly syncing with your 3.4 data and then sending that information to our LLS to make sure everything's in sync. So at this point, I registered my Investor Advantage DSCR loan, and I am going to move on to the fee step. So in the fee step, we use ClosingCorp Smart Fees. What that means is they're going to provide you with a default title and closing settlement services, so title and escrow. I think one of the most important things to call out here is, one, this is the default, and you could definitely come in here and select a different provider based on the list that's available to you. So you could come in here, search by distance, highest to lowest type rate, or looking for a specific name. And you could add it to the file and swap it out, or you can kind of use the defaults. Either way, what Smart Fees does for us is it helps us avoid cures, which is obviously really important. They're going to go ahead and slightly over disclose. That way we don't have to worry about cures. And in addition to that, Smart Fees provides us with a 60-day guarantee that we will not have any cures within the 10% tolerance from a compliance perspective. So that's always a great thing, right? So in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and roll the defaults. I'm going to move forward to the next step of the process. So you can either click save here, you can click save and continue at the bottom, or you can just click on the next step and it'll automatically sync it up for you as well. Now, let's say you got in here and you said, oh, I didn't want to pick Orange Coast title. I wanted to use a different one. You can come back to the Smart Fees step. You can download that fee guarantee I was speaking about. And that way you have that. It'll also go into your broker document library, which I'll show you later on in the process once we get post submission. And then if you wanted to make a change to it, you just click on the Smart Fees, and then it'll allow you to come back in here and make adjustments as needed. So then we're going to move forward to this fee step again. You can see here that everything with a gray box on it has been sourced from Smart Fees, and you cannot change. And then there's also a couple items where you can make adjustments to it. So if you see a pencil here, then you can make an adjustment. If it's locked down, then you can't make any adjustments to it. And you can add fees under section H or section B. If you want to add a fee, you just click on add a fee, select something from the drop down, input the fee amount. So that's how you make adjustments on the fee screen. Then the next step in this process would be to just click on the agree statement here. If you happen to be transferring an appraisal, you can go ahead and click here and it'll automatically add that fee in for you as well. And then I believe it's, if the loan amount is greater than about 2 million, it will, you're required to have a second appraisal. So then it would also dynamically ask you if you're transferring a second appraisal as well. You can just click both of those, it adds everything in for you and you can move forward. So everything's good to go here for me. I'm gonna go ahead and just save and continue and move forward to the next step in the process. All right. So again, another temporary step while our credit integration is working on being deployed. But what you're going to do at this step is you can upload your signed, or your, I'm sorry, it doesn't have to be signed. You upload your 1003, and then you also want to upload your credit report. I'm going to go ahead and just drop my test documents in here. Once the required documents have been uploaded, it'll allow me to move forward to the next workflow step. And you'll see that that's kind of a running theme throughout this portal. Again, if one of the other things that I like about this portal is if you wanted to confirm what you uploaded and you're not sure, like maybe you uploaded a picture of your dog and you want to confirm that you uploaded the right document, you can just come down here and click on the hyperlink. It'll download this from the portal and it'll automatically allow you to open that up. You can see what you uploaded. It also tells you what line item that you uploaded it to. So maybe you got these backwards and you can confirm that just by looking in here. Okay, so in this case, this step is complete. This here is just kind of optional spot. You can get these under resources on our non-QM expert website. We've put a few of them in here, some of the more commonly used ones, to make it a little bit easier if folks want to grab those while they're stepping through the process. Now we're going to move into the disclosure request. This screen is very simple, very easy. I'm just going to come in here and select yes for the majority of these. Now, if you have a resubmission, actually this question is very important. If you're doing a resubmission, you're going to want to make sure you click yes and put the old loan number in there. That's really, really important for you because if you're doing a resubmit, you do not want to have to re-upload all your different documents, all your credit reports, everything that you previously did. So if you put that loan number in there for your old loan number, then our operations team will transfer all that information over, and it'll make it a more seamless process for you, so you don't have to kind of recreate the wheel on that. In this instance, we're not going to do that. So the next one is the processing fee. So the way this works is it looks at this question reads if I'm doing lender paid or borrower paid comp. And in this instance, you can see here when I click on the loan summary that I'm doing lender paid comp. So in that instance, as lender paid, the only option I have here is to put in the third party processing information. So right, like the NMLS, the company name, and then the fee amount. If this happened to be borrower paid, you would have this option, and then you'd have another option for internal or external type fees. So this question here, it does not auto select yes or no. You have to make a choice. It will not, you cannot use a default in this one, so you actually have to click on which one you want. In my case, I'm not going to add a fee, but when you add that information in there, this entire form essentially gets sent as a PDF to our disclosure team, and they'll make sure that all that information gets added into your fees before disclosures go out to the borrower. And I'm going to click yes on the last question. Listing agent, selling agent, you can add this if you want. It's definitely optional. It will write to our LOS. Definitely not required. Something that if you felt like you just want to type in the submission notes, you can do that as well. But if you did want to, you have to start building your provider list. So you have to come in here, add the type of vendor that you want to add into your provider list. And then once you add that information, it'll be available for you to select in the drop down here. Again, definitely not required. Just kind of if that's something you want to add, it's definitely there for you to use. And then submission notes, if there's anything in the submission that you feel you need to call out to our operations team and disclosures team, make sure you put that information in here before you hit submit, and the team will get that information. So I think at this point might be a good point to stop and ask if there's any questions on anything that we just covered. If you do have questions, send them into the questions, and we'll see what we do about answering those for you. All right, looks like we're good on questions, so I'll just keep moving forward. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and request disclosures and put the loan into the post-submission status. This will generate a PDF. It'll put it into our LOS. It'll put it in your document library. Now that we're post-submission, I'm going to go ahead and quickly jump into another loan so that you guys don't have to wait for me to make some adjustments in the back end. For example, like conditions. This loan's already loaded up, so we're just going to pick up from where we left off right now. So in the post-submission view, I would say the very first step you'd want to handle is uploading your underwriting package so that you have a complete and full submission here. This list down here is going to be dynamic based on the document type that you pick. Now, this one's very lean because I picked DSCR, and DSCR is very simple. You don't need income, you don't need employment, you don't need rental income. None of that information is required on that type of loan. So it's actually very simple. I'm doing a purchase contract. So I can go ahead and just upload that piece of information, and I would just put in my purchase contract, which I'm going to throw in my fake purchase contract. And then once you've hit the required items, it will put this request loan setup button here. What you'll want, and that will let our setup team know that you're ready to have your documents reviewed. Now, the majority of these other items are if applicable. So if you for that particular type of loan, if it's applicable for what you're doing, go ahead and upload it. Some of these are kind of like general items. There's a miscellaneous bucket here too as well. For example, we're doing a non-QM loan. We're not going to have any type of DO, DU, LP findings that we're going to be uploading here. You may or may not have signed disclosures. So work with your AE and your AM on these items. But once you feel like you're ready and you have everything that you possibly could provide, you upload it here. And then you hit request loan setup. And then what will happen is our loan setup team will review your package. And then if you have all the documents that are required, the loan setup team will push your loan into underwriting. If there's a couple things missing, then they'll put it into on hold status and then work with you. They'll reach out to you on the back end, get those documents in, then they'll flip it over to in underwriting. So that's what the underwriting package screen looks like. It's actually very simple to submit a loan. We don't require a lot of documentation up front from the majority of our programs. So it's very easy to get in here and get your loan submitted and get it quickly into underwriting. And again, like we saw on the other screen, if you wanted to see what you've actually uploaded, again, you can come in here and click on these links and it'll present the document that you uploaded. And as you can see, it kind of builds a little repository of items that you've generated, like the disclosure request that we just created. So that was a system generated document and it's giving you access to that. The next step in the process probably would be you're ordering your appraisal or looking at your loan conditions. I'm just going to go ahead and show you how to order an appraisal here. It's very easy. This is connected already to go to our AMC. We have this available, the appraisal order form, on our website, again, under resources on our non-QM expert website. But the benefit of doing it here is once you click on this, it will pre-populate the majority of the form for you. And there's just a few little items in here like credit card info and a couple little other points of information, but the majority of your loan data is already populated in here. So that makes it a little bit easier. You just fill this out, hit submit, and then that goes over to our appraisal team. So that's what ordering an appraisal looks like. The next thing I would say we'd want to look at is loan conditions. All right, so this is what loan conditions look like. I think the most important thing to call out here is there is a hierarchy of how this works. Excuse me. So the hierarchy is essentially the very top tier. The trump card here is going to be suspended conditions. You cannot submit to condition review if you filled in all your PTD conditions, you still can't submit to condition review if you have a suspended item here. So the trump card would be suspended. You'll want to make sure that you get that uploaded, and then at that point you can actually, even if it's just this one item, you can submit to condition review, get the suspense released, and then you can continue working on your remaining conditions. The way we categorize conditions is kind of like a major and minor. So you have your major items, which would be your PTD conditions, and then you would have these minor ones, which are really kind of miscellaneous items, the PTD-B items. And then you also have, of course, later on in the process, you'll be able to upload your PTF as well. So in this case, I have a suspended condition and I want to upload my items here. And then once this is done, I can start continuing to upload the remaining items that I have for my PTDs and just kind of move this forward and then submit to condition review at that point. And then from there, it'll kind of go about back and forth. You'll have the loan may be in condition review and then bounce back to approved, maybe go back to suspended. So it's kind of a loop around these statuses here. And then once those items have been uploaded, it'll enable you to submit to condition review. The next step would be your document library. Actually, it's not a step, it's just a place where you can kind of see everything that you have been uploading. And then as certain documents, like say when you lock, you have your lock confirmation, those type of doc types will, once they've been added to our LOS by our operations team, you'll see that flow through here. Disclosures, once the disclosures are generated and you have signed disclosures, our operations team will update those in our document management system in our LOS, and those will also flow into here. So again, anything in here, you can kind of come in here and download to see the information that's in here. Like here's your smart fees guarantee that I was talking about earlier. You have access to that. You have a fee sheet that kind of just shows you what you selected on that second step of the fee process. Your disclosure submission. So if you couldn't remember if you charge a processing fee or not, and you're concerned about that, then you can come to this here and click download and see the information from that screen. Let's see. So on this loan, we floated it. So say we're ready to lock. Locking is very simple. You just come in here, you rerun the same pricer. If nothing major has changed, the results should come back and land on the exact same rate and product that you picked previously. And then there'll be an option, there'll just be a button down there that says request lock, which you saw on the other pricing screen. So let's see what is next. So the last thing I want to show you. Oh, hold on one second. I think we have a question. Okay, well, while we wait for that question to come over, here we go. Okay, so someone asked if the agent section is optional, then what is the point? That's really an option. And I mean, it's up to you. If you want to provide that information and you want to have that contact information in the system for folks to on the operations side to know who you're working with, if that's important to you, then I would say go ahead and add that information. But we don't require you to do that because the operations team will work with you anyways and get that information in the back end. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, and then the last piece I want to show you is under request. So the way this works here is, I know earlier, the summary I was showing you, we had request a change of circumstance, request lock extension, and then request CD. So the request CD will not be available under the request tab unless your loan has been approved and your appraisal has been received. So when our LOS system sees that you have an appraisal date populated in the back end, which means you've submitted your appraisal, the appraisal team has reviewed it, and they've input the information, then that option dynamically will appear for you. We don't want people prematurely requesting a CD, essentially is why we have that there. And then the rest here is very simple. If you're trying to request a COC, it's essentially what data point are you trying to make an adjustment for? You click on it, change the loan amount that you want to have here. If you don't see something based on what's in here, you can always just add that information down here, or if you wanted to elaborate on why you're changing something and support it with some documentation, you can upload docs here, make comments here, and then you just submit the request, and that will go out to your account manager on file and they will get that information and reach out to you if they have any questions. So that's how you do a COC. It's very simple. You just click on which item you want to change or add it in the notes here, and you can upload existing documentation if you, supporting documentation rather, if needed. So that's a COC. And then you have a request lock extension. Again, very simple. Click on it, select the extension timeline you're looking for, and then put the comments in here if there's some information that you want to provide. If you want to do a relock, same information here. So you click on that, select the relock info, and then when you hit submit request, this will go directly to our secondary team, and they will get that process for you, or reach out if there's any questions that they need from their end. So are there any additional questions? Because that's the end of our presentation. All right, it looks like we don't have any additional questions. I hope that was really helpful for everyone to see how easy it is to submit a loan to Oaktree. If you have questions, reach out to your AE and have them get in contact with us. We're here. We have the best support. If you're stuck submitting a loan or you're not sure if you're submitting it the right way, just reach out and we'll help you. We have excellent support. Yes, yes. Do we have a resource center like for videos? Yes, we have a YouTube page at Oaktree Wholesale. The other thing that we have as well is on our website under resources, you'll see easy submit training or user guides rather. And in there, it'll have all these different components, individual steps. And then also there's kind of a overall view of the process that we just went through. And I'm actually in the process of updating that and working on getting some mini videos out there to make it easier for people so that it's more digestible. So yes, definitely we have something existing and we're working on enhancing that to improve the experience for our broker community. All right, well, I think with that, that wraps everything up. I appreciate everyone's time. And again, if you have questions, you need help, reach out to your AE. They can get a hold of us. Our support team is always available to help you guys submit loans. That's what we do best is non-QM, so reach out. And thank you for your time and patience and for attending today's webinar.